Hello everyone, my name is Kim Kliska and I'm a master's student at Macquarie University who, in collaboration with Phillip Island Nature Parks, is completing a research project on a 17-year time series of Australian fur seal diet in Bass Strait. This project involves investigating the changes in the diet of Australian fur seal in Bass Strait since 1998. Australian fur seals are marine mammals that occupy the islands of Bass Strait, including my study site, Seal Rocks, located in central Bass Strait, as seen marked with the red X on the map. Seal Rocks is home to an estimated 30,000 seals, making it one of the largest breeding colonies of Australian fur seal in southern Australia. Australian fur seals are a marine mammal that are primarily benthic foragers. Hereby they are constrained to the continental shelf, outlined in grey on the map. Bass Strait is a shallow marine basin located between southern Victoria and northern Tasmania. There are three main currents that influence the productivity and therefore the prey availability to Australian fur seals in Bass Strait. These three currents are the South Australian Current, bringing water from the west, the East Australian Current that flows north to south along the east coast, potentially bringing warm water into Bass Strait, and the sub-Antarctic surface water that brings cold water up from the south. Bass Strait is also used for commercial fishing, and this may influence the prey available to Australian fur seals. The method used to investigate changes in the diet of Australian fur seals was hard part analysis of scat and regurgitate samples collected by Phillip Island Nature Parks from Seal Rocks. Hard part analysis includes the identification of otoliths and other identifiable parts from fish and cephalopod remains found in the samples. Specifically, I am investigating if the diet of Australian fur seals has changed in the last 17 years. What are the main prey items and have they varied in the diet over time? And what is driving these changes? Is it environmental or anthropogenic effects? The outcomes from this project could make a contribution to understanding how large-scale environmental changes in Bass Strait may influence prey availability and can potentially be incorporated into ecosystem-based models. The results from the hard part analysis are shown by the bar graph on this slide and show that there is variation in the diet throughout the time series. Across the x-axis are the years from 1998 to 2014, and the y-axis shows the mean proportional frequency of occurrence of the 9 main prey species identified as the most prominent of the 67 species identified overall. All other species are combined in this graph, shown in the grey along the top. Overall, leatherjacket and jack mackerel are the most consistent in the diet, represented by the light and the dark green. I would like to draw your attention to the species across the top of the graph: red cod, leatherjacket, redbait, jack mackerel and gurnard, as these species are the most prominent species in different years. Red cod was firstly presented in high numbers, represented in the red colour, and in the following years, 2000 and 2001, leatherjacket and barracuda were the most prominent. Then in 2002, redbait, represented by the purple, dominated the diet until 2006. From 2006, jack mackerel, displayed by the dark green, and along with leatherjacket and the light green were the most prominent until 2012. In 2012, gurnard species, shown by the dark blue, made up 20% of the diet. Pilchard has also reappeared in the diet, highlighted by the light blue. In the next part of this project, I will be investigating if there are environmental drivers of variation in Australian fur seal diet. I will be determining if wind, southern annular mode, or sea surface temperature are correlated with the changes in frequency of occurrence, and if the variation is consistent with commercial fishing catch in Bass Strait. I am particularly interested in sea surface temperature, as in 2008, using the same data, Kirkwood et al. Found that sea surface temperature was correlated with the presence of redbait in the seal diet. There may be other ecological factors driving the variation seen in the diet of Australian fur seals. Since 1998, there has been an increase in the numbers of Australian fur seals in Bass Strait. Little penguins, that are also considered a top predator in the Bass Strait marine ecosystem, have also increased in abundance. Little penguins consume some of the same prey as Australian fur seals, for example pilchards. This may lead to competition for food in the areas around Seal Rocks, and the variation seen in the diet of Australian fur seals may be reflecting the abundance of species altered through increased consumption. The variation present may reflect diversification of prey species due to resource depletion. I would like to acknowledge the two organisations that made this project possible, Phillip Island Nature Parks and Macquarie University. We would also like to thank all the staff and volunteers who collected the samples from seal rocks over the entire 17 years, and in particular Fiona Hume, who over the past 10 years has processed all the samples in the laboratory and identified the thousands of otoliths that make up this time series. If you have any further questions or would like to discuss the project, please contact me on the details provided on this slide. Thanks for your time and thank you for listening.